I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-Minute Convos, where I help you create a brand of your own unique real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good night, Paul Stennett. How are you going on this wonderful, beautiful night?
I'm having an amazing time. Thanks, Angel, for having me on.
Hey, Caribbean in the house, man. Caribbean in the house. It's not possible to hide. Tell me, what part of the world are you in right now?
I'm in Jamaica. It's rainy right now, but I love being here.
Love it. Yeah, it's raining here too as well in Trinidad, Paul. It's raining here as well. Paul, tell us, which of your talents is responsible for us meeting?
I think it's my level of taking action. I'm a sucker for pain, and I throw myself into difficult situations because it helps me to grow and learn and achieve what I want. And that has led me to create the transformation blueprint, which is why we got connected today.
Yeah. Talk to me about the transformation blueprint, please.
Well, the transformation blueprint is a podcast that I started in August, and that in that podcast, I talk to successful experts and entrepreneurs, and I extract the lessons and the tools that my listeners can use to transform their life.
You are amazing, right? So tell us where we can go find out more about your podcast. I mean, it is on iTunes. Like, I listen to it all the time, right? But
yeah,
where do you want to direct people who are listening that may be interested in that?
It is on iTunes, but you could find it at my name, paulstennett.net/podcast. And the Stennett is STENNETT.
Lovely, and that's STENNETT.
Yep.
Yeah, Paul definitely brings it double size as well. All right. Paul, who did you learn the skill of really taking the time to bring value to those that surround you, to community?
Yeah. So I'd say I learned it from my dad. You know, he used to be in the army, and it's always about doing the right thing no matter what it costs. But then, you know, as I got older, I forgot all about all of that. And I had to learn it the hard way, you know, as I go through different times in my life, you know, having to fund myself through university, having to save my own job at times, and bringing value to customers. I really had to think in that mindset.
It's pretty challenging, but at the same time, it definitely brought some worth, right? A foundation, if you would. Why will you continue to repeat that skill?
I mean, I'm going to continue to be. I mean, I'm an introvert.
Oh, and really?
Yeah, I am, and I know that on the other side of, you know, all the nervousness and anxiety and fear is what you want to achieve. And there's only one person in the world who can achieve your dreams, and that's you. Yeah, and so that's one of the reasons why I love entrepreneurship, because I know that everything rests on you. Your team is pivotal, yes, but you have to motivate them, and you have to create opportunities and possibilities where they were not originally. If you don't do that, you're doomed. So I really love this whole idea of taking action and kicking behinds, because only I can achieve my outcomes.
I love that. So, folks, I got to speak with Paul just to share on the power of a conversation. Tom Schwab is having a conversation with him, and he says, "Wow, you're amazing. Have you ever met Angel?" And
yep.
He said no. And then the night, right? Paul's time fit so exactly, so exact that I had time, and you know, Tom suggested, because Tom is the guy that suggested I do the Guinness World Record for the podcast. Mm-hmm. So he said, "Hey, talk to Paul." So I spoke with Paul, right? And I think, what was it, like an hour or something we spoke for?
It was about, yeah. Could have gone on for longer too. It's a good conversation.
It was a great conversation. I wouldn't even guess you an introvert, and it speaks to those that may be introverts that are listening, that are probably they're delaying to make the jump, right? And to doing things like what you're doing. And that's the purpose of what you're doing in terms of the blueprint, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Love it. Well, tell me one other thing you've done consistently over the last 3 years.
Exercise. I think exercise is something I've done consistently over the last 3 years. I've strayed off the path a bit, but I always come back to it because it feels like my home base. It's where I go to relieve stress, get my mind right. At times, it's definitely my home base.
Wow, how does it make you feel?
it makes me feel like I'm powerful, really. I mean, and each week you go and, there's a new opportunity. Each week you have to mentally prepare yourself because it's going to be difficult, but you show up each time and you lift heavier and heavier weights and you continue to push yourself, and it feels good to continue to grow.
Love that. Love that. Why would you suggest someone out there do what you've done? Someone who is doing, because, anyway, I was about to say introverts and going to gyms and pumping iron is probably not something that goes hand in hand, but I guess it does, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, there's a lot of alone time where it's just you and the weights, and if sometimes I know how I see other people do it. They have their headphones on and they're just in their own world. I have a trainer, I've worked with partners and everything, but you can definitely find your alone time with the weights.
Yeah, yeah. Well, amazing audience, we're speaking with Paul. If you haven't heard of him, Paul Stennett, you could check him out at paulstennett.net. Paul has an amazing podcast. Do check that out, The Transformation Blueprint, right?
Yes.
Let's switch gears, Paul, and let me now invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water.
It's amazing.
Paul, what is your earliest childhood memory?
All right. So I remember being at home, me and my brother running around, little kids with, towels tied around our necks, jumping from chairs like we're superheroes, and just, fighting imaginary monsters. I was obsessed with Power Rangers, and I used to dream about this, making my own Mega Droid, which I named myself. I even wrote a song as a battle rap with a dancehall beat. Yeah, that's what I remember. It was really fun.
Wow. So why do you think this memory, did you say how old you were?
I was about 4, I think, 4 or 5.
Yeah. Why do you think this memory is so clear?
I think that from all the experiences that of my memories when I was younger, that's probably the one. It was a rare moment in my life when I was just surrounded by happiness and love and freedom. I'm not going to say that I had a tough life. There are plenty of people out there who had it worse than me growing up. But, it's had its challenges. I went through different types of abuse and embarrassment and humiliation. But for some reason, that memory still is something I cling tightly to.
I love it. Well, can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind?
Go for it.
I love the concept of you understanding that you can be anything you want to be. And as cliche as that song, right? It's the truth. But what is intriguing is that you are becoming someone who can help others. And it's fascinating to see now that you've taken the decisions that have now brought to market, have now brought even to an audience the opportunity to get hope. I mean, you interview entrepreneurs who are sharing what they do, what they've done in Jamaica in business to get to where they are. It's like a free for all, right?
Yeah.
But it's very heroic. The time you're taking, the investment you're putting in, and it's fascinating to see that even back then you were becoming that hero. You believed.
Yeah. I appreciate it. I didn't actually think about it like that, but that's huge. Thank you.
You're welcome. If we fast forward to when you were 12, what was your favorite song?
So I had a favorite album. I could tell you one of the songs which I guess I played the most. And I remember me and my brother were sitting by the door in my bedroom with my boombox on the floor, listening to the entire album of Beenie Man. I think it was called Many Moods of Moses was the album. And that's the album that Who Am I was on. Yeah, so Booga Yaga music was what they called it. Wasn't allowed in the house, so we had to really hide and play the album. But that was one of my good memories when I was 12 years old, listening to that album.
Yeah, it's funny how some things connect, right? Like, I mean, being a hero, one of the big questions you always see in movies or comics is that question, right? Who am I, right?
Yeah.
Well, Paul, we've arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. Paul, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
No, I haven't found that person yet. I'm not old yet either.
Well, are you married?
I am married, yes.
Do you believe in God?
I do.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes, I do.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
It can sometimes I do, yeah. Sometimes when I want to unwind or prepare myself for bed, I usually watch something like Netflix. I don't watch TV, but I watch Netflix to kind of turn my mind off before bed.
And what about screen time? The phone and or the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Definitely more than 8 hours. I use social media and I work in an environment where I use a computer all the time. So I'm always on screens.
Paul, after having 1,001 conversations in 3 months in 2016, I came up with a workbook that's called Yours, YOURS, and it stands for Your Own Unique Real Self. But connected to that is your own unique real statement, your own unique real stance, your own unique real story. I am intrigued to know, though, if you had to share with us your mission, your own unique real statement, what would you say that is?
Well, for one, I think we have many purposes in life, but I think where I'm right now in my life is I've been given up an opportunity to give many people access to understand what it is to be an entrepreneur and finding the tools that they can use to transform their life. And I believe in using technology and education to transform not just myself, but the entire nation. So that's what my drive is right now.
Love it. Paul Stennett, this was a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
There's one thing that I say at the end of all my podcasts, and it's that we all have 24 hours in a day, and you can use yours to do amazing things. I hope you go out there, and I hope you rock it.
Love it. Paul Stennett, this was a great, great pleasure. All the way from Jamaica, folks. Paul, thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Thanks for having me, Angel.
Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.